absolute cloudburst about an hour ago when people were literally dashing for cover here. But the pitch, I must say, looks in very good condition. And Billy, as Brian was saying there, I think everybody here is hoping really for a Danish win.
Well, certainly all we Scots are, John. It's really our only way back into the competition. Disappointing, the result against West Germany earlier, but I agreed with what Ian St John said. No one can accuse our lads of not having given a good display. They were tremendous. I just felt, unfortunately, we didn't have anyone up front who looked like scoring. That was perhaps the reason that we lost the match eventually.
But if Denmark can beat Uruguay here, then hope remains to Scotland, because that would mean that Denmark would go to the top of the group with 4 points, one more than West Germany have at the moment. And then if Scotland could beat Uruguay in that final game in the group, they have a chance of qualifying in third place.
Yes, that's our way back in, John. Obviously, from what we've seen of Uruguay, they're a good side. It won't be easy for the Danes, but I think the Danes have got that little bit special up front. Those two front players, Trevor Elger and Michael Laudrup, they are a bit special, a bit quick, and I'm hopeful they'll do something here tonight that will maybe give Scotland some confidence for the final match.
The Uruguayan captain, Rodriguez, is out, which is why you saw a shot there of Fernando Alves, his regular deputy. And there was some doubt about whether the regular Danish goalkeeper, Troels Rasmussen, might also miss this game, but Ole Kvist, who would have been his logical deputy, has a stomach complaint, so Rasmussen keeps his place. I know the manager, Sepp Piontek, wasn't too happy about his performance against Scotland. However, Rasmussen gets a second chance. The referee for this match is a Mexican, Antonio Marquez. He's a refereeing instructor and also a member of the police force, so we should certainly have a man in charge here today who knows exactly how to handle any tricky situations. Uruguay wearing their change strip of all white, a very colourful setting in this stadium in Neza, with the red and white of the Danish supporters very much to the fore on the far side of the ground from where we sit in the commentary position. And so away we go with Denmark in this very flashy red strip, and the ball switched inside immediately and out to that far side to Henrik Andersen. This is Laudrup looking from afar. We've not seen many goals from free from Lurby. No great test in fact for Alves, but Billy, it has been disappointing, I think, the quality of free kicks so far out here.
Yes, it has, John. We were told the ball moves quicker at altitude. We've certainly seen an awful lot of misdirected passes, but there hasn't been an awful lot of excitement or invention from free kicks round about the box, and that has been a disappointing aspect of the competition so far.
Uruguay themselves had a free kick there, quickly taken. Santin leaving it for Francescoli. Expected very much to be one of the stars of this competition, Enzo Francescoli. And you can expect once again to see the slow, deliberate build-up. The Uruguayan manager, Omar Borras, likens his own team to the Italians. And Francescoli there trying to thread the ball inside the area to Diogo, who takes a very theatrical dive. And the referee was having none of that. But Diogo in your picture there, a very exciting and adventurous player coming forward. Busk, wearing 3 but operating in the right back position here, and this is the captain, Morten Olsen, today winning his 82nd cap, a marvellous record, the most capped Dane in history. Berggren, this is Laudrup, again showing good skill, trying to get the ball away from Gutierrez, and a good tackle from Gutierrez, who is regarded as one of the best central defenders in the whole of South America. He showed up well there. This is Berggren, and out wide Frank Arneson, making good space. Nice little ball back inside. Berggren might try a shot. Instead he uses his pace and then played a rather hopeful ball across the area, which almost went for a throw-in. As it is, it's a goal kick.
Just Just a little off-the-ball incident there, John. It shows us how cynical Uruguay can be. Laudrup chased back to pick up the ball there, and it was a real nice elbow in his face he had.
Lovely ball from Francescoli down the line, finding Da Silva, and Da Silva slipped his mark. If he's got no support whatsoever to aim for in the penalty box, it's Berggren who nods it away. Now Denmark with a chance to break, and Laudrup, we might well see him use his pace here. Elkjær in front of him, Arnesen out right, and Laudrup didn't read that situation at all then. Uruguay, full of course of so many players who play abroad outside their own country. It's an incredible statistic that over the last 35 years no fewer than 3,000 Uruguayans have gone to play professionally in other countries. They've lost more players abroad than any other nation. So Rasmussen, the Danish goalkeeper, looks intently on. And Francescoli again showing good footwork. But the Danes backing their defence to retrieve the ball. And as yet in these opening 5 minutes, the goalkeeper's rarely troubled apart from that one shot from Lurby. That ball given away in a dangerous position to Laudrup, who was very quickly to latch onto it. And the Danes now do have several players. Arnesen, Berggren, Arnesen again, across the face of the match. 7 minutes. And Francescoli certainly made a bit of a meal of that one.
The referee had enough and away went.
Let's hope we get a finish here today. And Alzamendi there, hooking the ball. Coming up to 8 minutes on the clock. We still await the first goal here in Neza. Denmark 0, Uruguay 0. And this is Diogo, who rejoices with the Christian names of Victor Hugo. Not as famous in this country as a certain other Hugo, who missed a penalty yesterday for Mexico. Senor Sanchez. Saralegui. Through to Francescoli. And Francescoli, good pace on the ball again, brought down once more. And it does seem whenever Francescoli is in possession, he's going to have his legs whipped away. All the Danes are back to guard Rasmussen's goal. Keeper himself hopping up and down, and I warn you, Batista can hit them. He didn't do so well there, but Alzamendi could have got in round the back of the defence. As it is, Uruguay have their first corner. Santin will take it. And he'll curl it left-footed. Bossio, the big defender, goes up for these. Rasmussen made a bit of a hash of that. He didn't judge the flight at all. And Francescoli working to try and find an opening. This is Batista. And Diogo is offside.
You know, the one thing strikes me very quickly, John, the goalkeeper of the Danish side, I think he's going to let them down this competition, and it's a shame because if he does, it's going to be seem to have a goalkeeper of any quality at all.
And the captain Olsen. Still, and a good chance here for Elkjær for the first goal! Delightful play by Laudrup to set him up, but you have to admire the clinical way Elkjær gets his 35th goal for his country in only 58 appearances.
Can be up front, John. What a lovely little bit of play from Laudrup there. He took the defence on and really put it on the plate for Kevin Elkjær. So what a magnificent scoring record he's got.
And that's encouraging for Scotland. There you see the scoreline. And always invaluable to get an early goal in these World Cup matches. And the early one here has gone to Denmark. Anderson won't keep that ball in play. Well, there really can't be a better goal scorer anywhere in the world than Preben Elkjær. It's remarkable to think that Cologne once turned him down because they said he was too aggressive. There are dual shouts going up here of Denmark and Elkjær from their valiant supporters, and there are 4,000 of them here, by the way. The Danes, one of the best supported nations in Mexico. Arneson. And the ball inside again, looking for Arneson, was from Nielsen of all people, and that just showed that these Danish players do pop up just about everywhere on the pitch. Centre back out in the left wing position. Jose Batista. Oh, and a nice turn by De Silva. Batista has carried on down that flank and has done well to regain possession for Uruguay. A little low cross to Francescoli. Can't keep possession this time though. It's now whether they can change them at all.
More of him than for the forward.
I must say I saw Bossio play for Uruguay against Wales at Wrexham, and I had the feeling when I saw him that time that he might be a defender who could run into trouble here in Mexico with referees.
I wouldn't like to walk into a dark alley in a dark night zone.
Elkjær back at the defence again. Laudrup is in the middle, but this time Uruguay managed to get the ball away for a corner. The Danes, though, so adept at finding Elkjær in those positions. Here's Henrik Andersen. Let's have a crack himself. Came back off a defender, but the chance not yet averted as the second shot came in there from Bertelsen. There's a great conviction in Mexico that Denmark can go a long way in this World Cup. De Silva down the line, and Alzamendi thought he was bundled off the ball illegally. Not in the minds of referee and linesman. Berggren leaving it for Frank Arneson. And so much movement off the ball by the Danish players. Out on that left-hand side, Morten Olsen has made a run. Inside the area, Elkjær will be offside if he gets the ball now. Arneson continues himself, and the referee said that it was in fact offside. But the movement of the Danish players off the ball has to be seen to be believed at times.
Well, the style they adopt, John, is very much two front players up there, and they've obviously got to be joined by people from midfield, but the Danes do it particularly well, and they put a whole lot into their game.
15 minutes gone. Denmark 1, Uruguay 0. And the free kick to Uruguay this time. It's a long way out, but Jose Batista, who looks to be teeing himself up for a shot here, was once clocked, shall we say, at 109 miles per hour with free kicks. So let's see if he whistles it in. Yes, he did, but he was off beam. The Danish players are in that picture there. There are 6 of them in the shot at the one time. So they do support one another well. Here's Nielsen. Now Lerby. He'll canter forward. All socks rolled down. And Anderson, Laudrup's taking up an intelligent position inside him. Berggren's making a dash towards the penalty area. Instead, Lerby has it once more. Anderson again. The Danes just willing to probe and work for that opening and then use Laudrup's pace to win another corner. Interesting then though, Anderson had the chance to cross the ball with 3 people in the penalty area, but he chose not to do so because he wasn't sure he could measure it. The Danes playing good possession football, and Busk, without doubt, was barged off the ball, and now Arneson is bundled over and appeals for a penalty. The linesman keeps his flag down, but that was extraordinary that 2 Danes went crashing down inside the Uruguayan penalty area within seconds of each other. Billy McNeil, what did you think?
Well, it was an astonishing lack of attention by the linesman, to be quite frank with you, John, because there's no doubt at all in my mind that Denmark should have had a penalty there. If not the first instance, certainly the second.
This is a skip by the referee to allow Denmark to keep possession here with Arneson. Laudrup. Bertelsen once again, and Laudrup taking that ball from Elkjær. Oof, he's so close to getting it through to Elkjær again. Just a foot further ahead of him, and there could well have been a second Danish goal. Uruguay must wonder how they're going to find their way out of the red card. It booked less than 5 minutes before. Well, there was no question there that he took the man out of the game, and Bossio is on his way to the dressing room. It's been an unhappy day for him. He was actually made captain of the side today in the absence of both Rodriguez and his normal, and leading his country, he's been sent off the field, and one can honestly say that he deserved it.
Well, the man's a head case, John, isn't he? Because he's already been booked. He's seen the referee being prepared to take dramatic steps to stamp out any disorder, and he goes and commits a foul immediately in front of him. He left the referee without anything to do other than to send him off. But from Scotland's point of view, John, that's quite good as far as I'm concerned, because I would imagine the Danes can rattle in a goal or two, and that can only help us.
Well, the Danes are difficult enough to play against with 11 men, so goodness knows how Uruguay are going to find it with 10. Frank Arneson is back on his feet and looks able to continue. Well, it's not being wise after the event, but after I saw Bossio at Wrexham recently, I must say that I thought he was a very likely candidate for a red card out here. He took a player out of the game there with a quite horrendous tackle. So Denmark, with 11 men, come pouring forward against Uruguay's 10. Bossio becomes the 3rd player dismissed in this World Cup, following Sweeney of Canada, and sadly, of course, England's own Ray Wilkins. Elkjær made another good forward run. This time Gutierrez cuts the ball out. And every player, bar Rasmussen, is now in the Uruguayan half of the field. Nielsen. Berggren making a run ahead of him. And Arneson chooses to play it square to Lerby. The Danes seem to have so many men up again. Here's Laudrup, who'll try a shot. And well off target that time. Michael Laudrup, who, like Elkjær, has a magnificent scoring record for his country. 18 goals. And he's won 32 caps. That's a great strike rate from Laudrup. reminded that an Iraqi player was sent off in the game against Belgium earlier today, so that makes Bossio the fourth to be shown the red card here in Mexico. Let's watch the skills of Francescoli though as he approaches the Danish penalty area. Good tackle, Morten Olsen. There's a wily bit of defending from the Danish captain. Uruguay must pour men forward here into the box, and it's just drifted beyond Gutierrez, who retrieve it and get another corner. The man on the left of your picture there, before it showed us the goalkeeper, Morten Olsen, must be as good a defender as there is in the world, a libero. Here comes the corner, and Rasmussen makes a punch, but there'll be a free kick. In fact, there'll be the corner taken again. Bertelsen was too close when Santin took the kick. And again Rasmussen makes a punch. Francescoli! It nearly dribbled in at the post. So better times for Uruguay. Let's see what they can do with this one. It's away by Busk. Back in, Francescoli. He's offside. But Billy McNeil, a marvellous bit of defending there by Morten Olsen, and then a nice bit of attacking play by Francescoli.
Well, that's right, John. He is an exciting player. Obviously, he's just been transferred for a whole lot of money, but he certainly looks so he's trying to live up to the reputation he's got in South America. At the moment, I think the only danger the Danes have got is themselves. They've gone just a little bit slack, a little bit casual, and I hope it doesn't creep into
the penalty area. Out to Arneson. This looks dangerous again, and Elkjær offside. But again, you have to admire the Danish build-up, even though it didn't count in the end. And it does seem that Elkjær is on song. It was encouraging to put the ball in the net, but now there's going to be more trouble. Ivan Nielsen now having a bit of a argy-bargy with referee Marquez. And that's going to be a free kick against Busk. The Danes must also be careful here not to get drawn into needless confrontations. Batista. And a little bit of a push and a shove on Da Silva, with nothing wrong with it.
The big lad Nielsen for Denmark's got to be very, very careful, because he's been asked to pick up Francescoli, and he's a handful himself. He's already been booked, John, and the referee's shown that he's not going to take any nonsense from anyone. So he's really got to be very, very careful.
Arneson down the line, Laudrup. This time his pace can't take him past Acevedo. This is Nielsen. Lurby. Uruguay must feel it's critical for them to get something from this match. Having just drawn with West Germany, their final game against Scotland to come. They're just going out of play over on that far side. It's a very dull afternoon here, so no problems of oppressive heat for the players to withstand. Uruguay probably a bit sorry about that fact. Here's Da Silva. Inside him is Alzamandi. So not a good cross. Away first time by Nielsen. And nicely broken up. Elkjær. Lucky rebound there to Bertelsen. Enables Arneson to pick it up. Arneson so influential against Scotland. Going a long way himself here. Now Laudrup. And there are three men in that penalty area. Elkjær is there, gets a free header, off target, offside anyway.
They're astonishingly quick, the Danes, when they come out of defence, John. They're almost hunting packs, as it were, but you saw how quickly they broke from the back there, and there's danger every time they get the ball.
It's Zamandi who's knocked off the ball by Anderson. Free kick to Uruguay. But as yet, Uruguay haven't been able to find a way through at all. Partly for that reason that every time Francescoli gets anywhere near the ball, he's not allowed to retain possession for more than a split second. So Uruguay's turn to attack the Danish defence, and again it seems that they're going to use Batista to crack one in. It's now become a three-man wall. Here's Batista, right-footed, it came off the ball and gets a corner kick. He's certainly very hopeful, trying to blast from that sort of distance. But Uruguay building up the number of corners they're winning, and at the near post was Acevedo. He got the flick on all right. It's a little bit too long for any of his colleagues. The ball comes out here, and rather hopelessly just chipped over the top of the defence and straight into Rasmussen's hands. So the people of Neza here have done everything in their powers to be as hospitable as possible, and just before the kick-off here, Billy McNeil was handed a basket of fruit, so if you hear him munching away on a Mexican plum, don't be too surprised during this half. And it is just about half an hour gone. A reminder that Denmark are leading Uruguay here by 1-0, and Anderson battling with Batista, and succeeds in getting the ball back for Laudrup, who then doesn't quite read it right. The Danish fans, quite excitable, known as Roligans. The word rolig, by the way, meaning quiet in Danish. They're not quiet by any means, and they're delighted their team are a goal to the good. Offside flag there against Alzamendi. But the Danes are lovely people, Billy, and it's nice to see their country doing so well in world football.
Well, that's right. They play football the proper way. The accent is on keeping possession. The accent is on trying to score goals, John. This particular group has been very, very exciting. The games we've seen, it's been very open football. I think it's the best football we've seen anywhere in the competition so far.
And I can tell you that Billy McNeil was leading the singing of the Danish national anthem in a certain restaurant last night, so he's become very pro-Dane. Reminder that Uruguay are down to 10 men with their captain Miguel Bosio sent off for 2 bookable offences. So it's a very uphill task for the South American champions. Laudrup for Denmark. Still Laudrup. And even now he's managed to get the ball back for Lerby, who really cracked that one in. Pretty sure that Acevedo felt that one all right. A corner kick.
One of the reasons why Laudrup's so hard to pick up, John, he goes way back into midfield, and it's hard for a marker to go with him, and he picks up the ball and he uses that astonishing pace of his, and all of a sudden he's on your doorstep. Tremendous potential.
Anderson. And that's going to drift right beyond everybody as far as Arneson. Well taken this time by Alves. Frank Arneson's had a marvellous season. His club, PSV Eindhoven, won the Dutch league. And he seems to pace his game pretty well out here. Da Silva for Uruguay. Challenged by Nielsen, ball won by Nielsen. And now Laudrup. Lerby, Elkjaer raiding down his right-hand side, but he won't keep that one in play. Linesman Jan Keizer of Holland, who's already officiated at one of the top matches in this tournament. And that is many people's favourite to perhaps get the World Cup final itself. You see Anderson there, who is nominally left back, popping up in the right back position. Morten Olsen. Roundrup has come deep this time. Busk. The Uruguayans just content at the moment to just funnel back and try and defend it. They are a goal down. It would be really disastrous for them if they were to go 2 down before half-time. Their legs are going to be pretty weary, one imagines, at the end of 90 minutes of playing with 10 men. A chance to break. Francescoli. And they've lost out here, and there are several Danes coming forward as Lerby skips past the challenge of Acevedo, but then doesn't deliver a very good pass.
The edge has just gone from the game at the moment, John. I think they've just allowed themselves to be dragged down a little bit casual, a little bit loose, a little bit slack. I think simply because of the fact that we've seen the Uruguayans reduced to 10 men. They've got to sharpen up their passing again.
To get past Nielsen, he's still here, shadowed by Morten. No way through there. Been stopped, and a yellow card for... He does get moving. And he's found De Silva, edge of the area. De Silva's inside the area now. The shot coming back off Olsen's heel. But we're up inside the area. Blistering pace. The face of goal. Good save. That one in the net.
With my luck, John, that would be the 10th time, to be honest with you. But it's astonishing when you think how well he finishes normally and he misses a chance like that. But once again, Lodrup showed us how quick he is. And he seems just to break into top gear without even trying.
I believe you once tried to sign him, didn't you, a few years ago, Billy?
Yeah, I must have been a very good judge when I think about it, John. He was only 17 at the time.
He's still only 21. Francescoli robbed once more down that touchline. Linesman out there. Splendid name of Romualdo Arpe from Brazil. So Uruguay have a throw. Diogo will take it, and it's a good long one right round the penalty spot, that one, and this time Rasmussen does come and makes a good catch. But you wouldn't exactly use the phrase safe as houses around the Danish keeper.
No, I must admit, John, he doesn't instill an awful lot of confidence in his colleagues.
Lerby made a great run down the left there, but the ball didn't quite get to him. So the white shirts of Uruguay come forward. They've 5 minutes of the first half to go to try and get back on level terms here. And there could be problems here. No. Oh, the cross comes in! The ball away. They break like lightning, and that showed that Elkjær isn't just a goal scorer, it's the perfect cross.
The goal, John, because Lerby picked up the ball in his own half, ran with it, waited for the support to come, played it in front of Elkjær. It was astonishing, there was only the two of them up there, and they were against 4 defenders. What a lovely goal, and I think the Danish supporters are quite happy to see that one, and quite relieved as well.
I think the Scottish supporters are a bit pleased too.
Even more so, John, even more so.
It's Lerby's 11th goal for his country. He recently, by the way, played his last game for Bayern Munich and scored twice for them. De Silva, by the way, is offside here. Søren Lerby due to join Monaco next season. Now the Danish flags really are waving. I said earlier, there's a growing conviction that Denmark can do very well in these World Cup finals, and everything we've seen in this first half confirms that view.
Well, there's no doubt about that. At the moment, the game has gone just a little bit easy for them, John, and I think that's why they've slackened off a bit. But you saw that goal there, and it was of astonishing good quality.
We also saw their coach, Sepp Piontek, there. Didn't look too pleased. He looked a bit too up. So the South American champions, who've won every single cup competition they've entered since Omar Boras took over as coach, now are really up against it here against Denmark in Neza. Gutierrez. Diogo. Now Batista. And Diogo's made a very clever break forward, but he's offside. It was a very good break, actually. Diogo hits the post as it happens. Actually, I thought he ran from the back and beat the offside trap.
I thought he did as well, John. It so happened he missed the chance in any case, but there was a little bit of indecision between the linesman and the referee there, and I felt that the referee was probably wrong in pulling the lad up for offside.
So Denmark have that free kick. And I think they can consider themselves a little bit unlucky there. Diogo was hard done by. With 90 seconds of the first half left. And the Danish supporters swaying from side to side on the opposite side of the field to our commentary box. I have a feeling a few lagers might be down tonight, not only here in Mexico but in Copenhagen as well. Elkjær, lovely little flick inside for Berggren. Couldn't quite get there ahead of Gutierrez. He strides away with the ball. This is Saralegui. It was a commentator's dream in a Uruguayan side because he's blonde, unlike the other 10 numbers. Laudrup. Again, he's looking for Elkjær. This time it's just a fraction too long. And here's Batista, who will have been delighted with my comment a moment or two ago. Not more having dark hair, he's not got many locks. Uruguay have a free kick. Just about full time on the clock here. Full time for the first half, that is, as just outside the Danish penalty area. He's not got long in which to do something. Nielsen throws his hands in the air. So, what is going through the goalkeeper's mind, I wonder? We saw a great penalty save yesterday by the Paraguayan Fernandez against Mexico. Francescoli which he does. Half-time, not full-time, so there are 45 minutes left yet.
They're back, and with a player of this lad's quality, Francescoli is a very, very exciting player. He goes at people. And he got the penalty almost out of nothing. But I think the referee was right to give the penalty.
And that's how close we were to the half-time interval, so the Danes must be kicking themselves for doing that. Preben Elkjær gave Denmark a 10th minute lead. Søren Lerby made it 2-0 after 41 minutes. This, by the way, after centre-back Miguel Bosio of Uruguay had been sent off. And then just seconds before half-time, Enzo Francescoli wins a penalty, takes it himself, scores himself, and that means here we have a half-time score in Neza of Denmark 2, Uruguay 1. We'll be back for the second half. For the time being, we'll take a break.
At the start then, let's rejoin Billy McNeil and John Hill.
Welcome back to Neza. Thank you very much, Brian. That's perfect timing. Reminder of that scoreline then at half-time here. There it is, Denmark 2, Uruguay 1, and Uruguay's 10 men. Captain Bosio sent off. Have a tremendous task, even now after that last-minute penalty from Francescoli in the first half. There have been no substitutions, either manager finding it necessary to change things during the interval. It certainly like to have been a fly on the wall in the dressing rooms. Morten Olsen here, the captain for Denmark. And out on this left-hand side, Henrik Andersen. And a great run here again by Lerby. Diogo this time managing to keep it out and keep the ball in play. Uruguay will have to beware against these lightning Danish attacks. It was interesting to see the policy of the Danes in the first half. There was a spell when they were 1 goal up where they seemed to be taking it a little bit too leisurely. And They struck with that Lerby goal and then rather needlessly gave away a goal just before half-time. Interesting to hear the comments from the panel as to whether it was a penalty or not. Whether it was right or wrong, the scoreline is Denmark 2, Uruguay 1. And Uruguay will feel they're back in the game. Here's Laudrup. And again, it's the right-hand side. The cross going in, chance for of Laudrup. Just in the nick of time as well there by Gutierrez. Well, that's a little bit of defending by Gutierrez there with 2 men on him. So Denmark win the first corner of the second half. Slipped in near post, Gutierrez away to Da Silva, who's done well. Just about finds Francescoli, who's got it through to Da Silva as well, and goes alone. The goalkeeper Rasmussen has to come off the line, hacks it away. How to play on that far side, but good build-up there between Francescoli and Da Silva.
Yes, it's obvious that there still is a danger to Denmark, John, that Da Silva has impressed me very, very much in this match.
Da Silva was the top scorer in Spain just a couple of years ago. He cost Atletico Madrid $3.5 million, so that's the value of the fellow. Here's Alzamandi. Busk has covered him all the way though. Uruguay appearing here in their first World Cup finals since 1974. And have, of course, won the World Cup twice. So they have a good record. And their coach Omar Borras was in fact the assistant back in 1966 when they came to England. Nice bit of skill from El Chiari. Didn't quite pay off though, and Alzamandi is inside the Danish penalty area. Very quick break by Uruguay there. So as Billy said a moment ago, just shows that danger still is posed. Uruguay have their first corner. Antonio Alzamandi there, who was 30 yesterday. I'm sure he'd love to celebrate with a goal. Corner taken, Rasmussen, oh dear, he's made a complete mess of it to the ball. He's going to go. I thought it was going to go into the net. The overhead kick was by Diogo. But Rasmussen really looks hapless in that Danish goal. We've got to now watch Laudrup. Is Laudrup against Saralegi? And he's going to have to come all the way back. After all that was a very late whistle. The referee is still standing almost on Rasmussen's toes. Well, total confusion in the stadium there. Hardly anybody was watching what was happening. The referee seemed to have waved play on. Away went Laudrup.
The linesman had his flag up, John. I think that he was indicating that the lad who tried the overhead kick was in an offside position. But it took the referee an awful long time to realise what was happening.
Again, Billy trills Rasmussen. He looked very uncomfortable in the Danish goal.
Oh, he's a shocker, John. It really is. That it's a shame when you see a team as talented as the Danes to think they've got a goalkeeper of such pure quality.
Arneson. And again, he's managed to find Henrik Andersen. Cross this time was an easy one for Batista. And the free kick there, Da Silva brought down by Nielsen. Nielsen has already been booked, and one or two of the Uruguayans are pointing out to the Mexican referee that Nielsen's name went into the book as early as the 7th minute, and he's just made another rather clumsy challenge there. Certainly make it far more interesting if Denmark were reduced to 10 men. Diogo down the line on Alzamandi. There's Henrik Andersen, 21 years of age, and wears number 21 on his back. And here he is again. Nice bit of play by Laudrup once more. He's definitely developing as one of the stars of the World Cup. Mikael Laudrup, Morten Olsen, Frank Arneson now. Will get the close past defenders as though they don't exist. This is going to be one of the... The defender on the line got a foot to it, he couldn't keep it out. And Miguel Laudrup has scored one of the finest goals you could ever wish to see.
You know, John, that's what the competition...
Uruguay's free kick is taken by Diogo. The flag is up. And that one wasn't. Uruguay have it all to do. And there's a long chase on here for Da Silva. Nielsen has gone with him. Da Silva is a good ball artist. He lost out there, but Batista supported well. His pass wasn't so good. One of the Danes is down there clutching his ankle in the centre circle. I think it's Bertelsen. And they're calling for the stretcher. Of course, stretchers always are brought on in this World Cup to take players off the pitch as quickly as possible. And it looks to me as though Jan Molby might be the player who will come on. The players looked immediately concerned there. Elkiar just pointing out to referee Marquez exactly what happened, complaining about that tackle. Da Silva certainly went in pretty hard on Bertelsen. So, a nasty ankle injury for the little midfield chap who's such a favourite of Sepp Piontek's. Bertelsen winning his 61st cap for his country, and he's in some anguish there. And indeed, Jan Molby of Liverpool is all ready to come on as substitute. So I don't think we're going to see any more of Jens Bertelsen in this game. What about the challenge, Billy?
I thought it was a shocking challenge, John. He went straight over the top of the ball. I think the lad's got a nasty injury there.
Always sad to see a player carried off, as indeed, of course, Charlie Nicholas was on this ground in the game against Denmark.
It's astonishing to think, John, the referee didn't even take any notice of that foul. It's the worst challenge in the game so far.
Well, as Ian St John said at half-time, the standard of refereeing out here in Mexico has certainly left quite a little bit to be desired. And that's exactly what happened. Bertelsen clutching his face as he goes off. We'll not see any more of the action today. One can only hope that he's fit again to take part later in the World Cup. Meanwhile, there are substitutions going on aplenty here. The Uruguayans are taking Santin off. I must say he's not had any great influence on the game. And they are bringing on Jose Salazar. And they're also trying to get Venancio Ramos onto the pitch as a second substitute and Alzamandi off. That is about to happen as well. There goes Alzamandi, scorer of a goal against West Germany, not today, and he is replaced by Venancio Ramos, the man whose goal against Chile brought Uruguay to these World Cup finals. They'll need to score one today, or even two. A reminder after all that, the frenzied action, that the scoreline is Denmark 3, Uruguay 1, coming up to 58 minutes gone. And Jan Molby in the action for the first time. Came on as a substitute against Scotland, he's done so again here. Lerby characteristically breaking and making a good 20 yards and finding Molby. The ball bouncing away from Molby's ankle. Now Ramos. The hero Venancio Ramos in Uruguay. He's already won 41 caps and does have a knack of coming on and scoring goals for them. I think they'll be praying for one back in Montevideo. Da Silva unable to keep the ball in play. And one has to wait to see what those substitutions might do for Uruguay, Billy. Certainly a positive move, bringing two players off and putting two on at the same time, and at least he's given them half an hour in which to show something.
I thought he was going to tighten up at the back, John, but he doesn't look to have done that. He looks to be playing still an open game, and it's nice to see. I just hope that they don't show any more indiscipline, and perhaps the game will degenerate. I just hope they keep the head, keep playing.
I also hope the Danes keep playing. They've really slowed things down since that injury to Bertelsen. That's why they've just reorganised their forces. Look where Laudrup is here now. Molby's pass intercepted this time by Zalazar. Scoreline again, Denmark 3, Uruguay 1. The scorers Elkjær with the first, Lerby the second, and then after the penalty on the stroke of half-time by Francescoli for Uruguay, we've seen a marvellous goal from Mikael Laudrup to make it 3-1. Here's Henrik Andersen, he's got Elkjær outside him. If he plays the pass with the right sort of weight, there could really be danger, but it was just a bit too far ahead of Elkjær. And a bit of battling by the Uruguayan defence this time, retrieves the situation. Elkjær is chasing back. They'll survive this one. Francescoli picking it up from Batista. I'm sure all of Uruguay must be hoping that Francescoli can turn on one of his virtuoso performances. We've not seen a great deal from him in this game. He's obviously got good ball skill, but he's not been able to find a way through.
I think for the neutral, John, it's been disappointing for Uruguay to have the player sent off, because they're a good side, full of skillful players. It would have been a lovely contest had they been still 11 aside.
Laudrup, Lerby and Berggren build here. Berggren, I've not seen a great deal of him in this match so far, but he's found Arneson out wide, and he's gone for the return. This time a good catch by Alves. Anticipated well. Molby. Molby almost making up for his own pass, which didn't find the target. Diogo, who was very unlucky with one effort, an overhead kick, Victor Hugo Diogo, and he's here now, trying to work away. I'm pretty sure that Batista will have a whack, but he won't, and they almost all fooled us, because Ramos it was who clipped it just past that post with the help of a deflection. So for once Batista didn't whack it. That was quite well taken by Ramos. Must have just come off the last man in the wall when the French is there. Corner taken, and it was Saralegui who got up. Couldn't control the header though, but that will have encouraged Uruguay a little.
John, they've continued to play football. They're still trying to score. They're still trying to make an entertaining game of it. So it's good for the spectators. The competition's about goals, and it's nice to see some goals in the match.
Yesterday's games have certainly lifted the average, which was below 2 before today for the match. So it's something of a treat for us to have had 4 here in Neza today. Lerby, one of the goal scorers for Denmark here. And he's found Laudrup. Laudrup once more. Trying to nudge it onto Arneson. Acevedo is the defender marking. And he's stayed out there to receive the ball back from Lerby. There are 3 Danes in the penalty area there. One is Molby, couldn't find Laudrup. And eventually it's brought away by Ramos. Not for very long though. A chance of Ole go up every time 2 passes are stringed together here. That's 3 and that's 4. Morten Olsen. Arneson. Laudrup. And the crowd revelling in this one. This was the longest passing movement of the match. Let's see if it comes to anything. Henrik Andersen. Molby going outside him. Elkiar. The pass inside. The header was for Laudrup, and a little bit better direction, and there would have been no stopping a fourth goal.
It was a lovely passing movement, John, and it almost finished up with the goal, but they're so confident, so comfortable on the ball, the Danes. They really are tremendous individual skills and tremendous individual players.
Diogo. Movement in front of Ramos. In the end he managed to find Francescoli. And Batista, the people lining themselves up. Here's Batista! And he's found Arneson out on that right-hand touchline. Arneson, here is Laudrup, leaving it for Molby. Very Laudrup, I'm not quite sure whether he intended to let that run under his foot. Surely he can't do it a second time, or can he? Well, it's got to be for a little bit unlucky here as it came off his knee, and Elkiar from there. So
That's the goalkeeper as well at the end of it.
So 36 goals for him for Denmark now in 58 matches. Well, with every goal that Denmark score, I know that Scotland's hopes rise. As we've said before, goal difference so vital. Let's also say, of course, that this isn't going to do Uruguay's confidence any good before they meet the Scots.
No, that's right, John. It's exactly what we're after. You know, we've got to clutch at straws just now, but this is exactly what we're after. I hope they get a real drumming.
Sitting on the fence again, Billy. And as you've probably heard, this group, comprising West Germany, Scotland, Uruguay and Denmark, has been called the Group of Death. It's certainly a bit fatal for Uruguay here today, and it's certainly not what they're calling the England group out here, which is the Group of Sleep. Perhaps a little unkind that, but nonetheless, Uruguay here have got themselves a corner. They trail 4-1 though. It could be a hopeless course for them. The goalkeeper this time makes a punch, and he was under some duress. He's got a smack in the mouth as well, and the referee gives instant relief with a free kick. I'm sure you can imagine the Danish supporters are rather happy with life at the moment. When you think it's their first World Cup finals, and that they've already beaten Scotland and now seemingly well on their way to victory over Uruguay, but it's a marvellous start for them here in Mexico. Always giving it away though. Picked up by Anderson, and Arneson out there standing on his own, and if he's got the pace to outstrip Batista and Acevedo, he's brought down. Referee says he took a dive. And there's a bit of pushing going on. It's nice to see Frank Arneson smiling. I think he probably even agreed with that decision.
Well, if you can't smile when you're 4-1 up, John, it's a tough old life. But, you know, calling this section the Group of Death, as it were, the Danes have got such a delightful approach to everything. They smile, they enjoy their football. And as you mentioned earlier, those fans are there certainly enjoying themselves as well.
No doubt the newspapers back home will be calling them Great Danes tomorrow. The songs have started. We are red, we are white, we are Danish dynamite. Now, I'm going to ask you, Billy, do you think that Denmark can go on to win the World Cup?
It would be difficult to back against them, John. They've got so much going for them. They've got 13, 14 players that are also comfortable on the ball. They've got two tremendous strikers up front.
I know it sounds premature asking a question like that, but really it's marvellous to admire these Danes here, and they are really tearing forward here. Arneson is out on this left-hand side. Has received the pass, chipped it back into the middle, and that would have been a terrific hat-trick for Elkiar, wouldn't it? Would have been a classic goal as well.
I don't think the hat-trick's far away. He's got the bit between his teeth, John. He's looking for goals, this big fella, and he knows how to score them.
Well, he was way off target in the end, but he certainly ran in well to meet the cross. The defender, I think, was putting off sufficiently there. Credit to the Uruguayan, but not for that pass. Denmark 4, Uruguay 1. The scoring match so far was the one, of course, in which Russia annihilated Hungary 6-0. I don't think at the outset of this competition anyone would have put money on anybody scoring 4 times against Uruguay. They've come here with one of the best defensive records in the world. And it's fair to point out as well that since Omar Boras took over as their coach, they've lost only 5 times in 50 matches. I think this is going to be number 6. Saralegi. Outside him is Ramos. Saralegi chooses to float it to that far side instead, where Nielsen gets up to head it away. And it's looking very much as though Denmark are going to go to the top of their group with 4 points. One more than West Germany. Uruguay will have 1 and Scotland none as they go into the last game. Ramos here for Uruguay. Salazar. And Ramos again. He gets muddled up with his feet. I thought he had 3 of them there. Delightful football again, and Laudrup is making a charge down the middle. He'll be offside though. Lerby delivered the pass just a fraction too late.
When you look at this Danish team and you think that Morten Olsen's going to retire after the World Cup, it's astonishing because he looks so fresh and he's so quick, delightful touch on the ball, and I just hope someone persuades him out of retiring, John.
Tottenham tried. I'm sure David Fleet is watching this match with interest. And Walt Nelson, now at the age of 36, has decided that the World Cup will be his swan song. He delivered the pass there. Elkjær was ruled offside. And there you have the scoreline. 15 minutes of a very enjoyable match left. Uruguay have found to their cost that you can't have a player sent off as Bossio was, as early as he was, and try to hold Denmark. Lerby, scorer of the second goal. Again, the Danes just probing for position. Only one of them moving around somewhere on the pitch. And they're out for a Sunday afternoon stroll at the moment. And that time it doesn't quite come off. And news from the dressing room, by the way, that I can give you. The injury to Jens Bertelsen is not serious. It's not serious. He's got some ice on the leg, and the Danish doctor has said we are not worried. Nothing is broken. We should be okay for the next match. So that's very good news indeed from the Danish dressing room. And there'll be more good news if Laudrup and Elkjær capitalise again here as Laudrup leaves Diogo almost in his way. The cross is for Arneson. An extraordinary header. He headed it down and up and over.
They're almost queuing up to score now. It's almost as if they can lift and drop the game anyway. This was an astonishing miss, really.
Yes, it should have been 5 really then. Arneson had a splendid opportunity to get his first goal of these World Cup finals. Here's Da Silva. He's been as good as anyone for Uruguay and showing good pace on the ball, getting it over to Batista. Oh, and it came off a couple of pairs of heels there before it ended up safely in Rasmussen's hands. Again. Elkjær dashing down the middle and delayed the pass, so Molby picks it up. And Arneson has again made another run, and that surely is a free kick. Molby brought down by Acevedo. Predictably, the Uruguayans argue, but no doubt at all that the big fellow was taken out of the game there. What a marvellous thing it would be for Denmark and for Jan Molby if they could cap a quite incredible season by winning the World Cup. Jan Molby, of course, in the team that did the double for Liverpool, as he was when he was with Ajax. Now here's Lerby, straight as a die, but straight at Alves. Uruguay trail 4-1. And again De Silva involved. Ramos. He's whacked it against the defender. Laudrup sets off again. Elkjær. Surely this must be Elkjær's hat-trick. Brilliantly. He slipped the keeper.
What a magnificent finish here, John. He took it so calmly, so well. Did you notice that down from the back? I think one of the Uruguayans is booked for that.
Well, Denmark clinched their place here with a 5-1 win over Norway when they scored all their 5 goals in the second half. They've got 5 again as Batista drives one in. And who's to say they won't add to this tally? There are 10 minutes to go here, and they look so supremely confident.
It's just a practice session for them now, John. They're so confident. They know they've won the match, and they're just going to embellish it just a little bit. Really tremendous team there.
Elkjær 3, Lerby and Laudrup the scorers for Denmark. Uruguay's only reply, a penalty by Francescoli. But it really has been a red and white tide, and Uruguay have never been able to repel it. And I don't think it's unfair to say, Billy, that this is a warning to the rest of the World Cup, isn't it, to the other teams playing here?
Well, the Cup's going to be won by someone who can score goals, and this team can score goals. They can score from all possibilities, but certainly from these front 2 players are tremendous.
Well, Elkjær's so confident he's actually having a drink from a bottle. He's just put it down now. He's leaving it to everybody else then for a moment. And I'm pretty sure a substitution is about to be made. And I think the brilliant Michael Laudrup is going to perhaps come off. He's just standing, having a word with Sepp Piontek at the moment on the touchline. But he's given such an exhilarating performance here, Laudrup, and his team is in such a commanding position. If he is at all injured, they won't want to risk him for these last 10 minutes. The Danes are trying to get a substitute ready to come on in place of Laudrup. Always sad to see such a great player go off, but he's certainly treated us today.
I think it's common sense, John. They've done their business now, and he's taken a knock there, and I don't think it would have been sensible to leave him on to invite more challenges.
Laudrup off. Jesper Olsen of Manchester United is on. Denmark have a free kick. 8 minutes left. And such is the Danish performance here. You don't want to hear the final whistle. It's one of those sort of days. And the first time that Jesper was in the action, he was brought crashing down. Well, they've had a great day, haven't they? It's not over yet. I think they might well celebrate into the night here, as just about everybody seems to do in Mexico. I don't think anybody ever gets to bed before about 3 o'clock in the morning in this city.
There's not much sense, John, when there's all those Mexicans dancing about outside your bedroom shouting and singing.
Morten Olsen. Arneson's making the dash forward. Didn't get the pass though. So the slow build-up continues with the captain again. Certainly a long time since Uruguay conceded 5 goals. And this is the scoreline, which makes such pleasant reading to Danish fans. Denmark 5, Uruguay 1. 7 minutes left here in Neza. Quite memorable performance by the Danes. It's also, let us remind you, tremendously heartening news for Scotland this. They play Uruguay in the final game of the group, and if they beat Uruguay as the Danes are doing here, well, there's still hope. That, by the way, is a match that you can see live on ITV on Friday. Scotland against Uruguay. What a match that's set to be now. Ramos here for Uruguay, shown as much spirit as anybody since he came on. This is the other substitute, Salazar. Now De Silva, now Batista. I've seen little of Francescoli in this second half, and he was blotted out again there. How he'd love to play for the Danish side, I would think, amongst all these stars. Lerby. Here's the hat-trick man. He's going for 4 here. And his skills don't get him past Gutierrez this time. And the big strong defender breaks. He's not got much support here. And the further he goes out to the right, the more red shirts he's confronted by. Salazar will try a long-range shot. Not a bad idea, especially against a goalkeeper like Rasmussen, who's not inspired confidence. But so few players seem to be able to hit the target from that sort of distance.
Well, that's right, John. We haven't seen an awful lot of evidence of good long-distance shooting. But, you know, one thing to Uruguay's credit, they've continued to play. They've not tightened up the game. They've not tried to make it turn it nasty or anything. They've continued to play an open, attractive game. And it's been very entertaining for everyone. Except if you're Uruguayan, I suppose.
I think even the West Germans will be quaking a little at the sight of Denmark playing as fluently as this. I beat them in their last game. And is this a 6th one? No. The shot harmless enough in the end. Lerby's got one already.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens further on in the competition, John, because obviously Denmark are through to the next round. It'll be interesting to see them pit this skill against some of the harder nations, some of the more organised nations.
Certainly will. There's a little bit of a knock in the face for Henrik Andersen there. Doesn't appear too disconcerted. And we've just under 5 minutes left. As De Silva can't control it. Saralegui is down, and now the referee has blown the whistle, a little bit belatedly. Uruguay's free kick. That's a good ball through. Francescoli inside the area, and Busk went with him. Olsen came across. Well, I suppose even 1 goal for Uruguay would be some consolation here. They mustn't give up. And they've got a lot of players up inside that penalty area, as you can see. Somewhat crowded there. The reason for the delay, by the way, is we've lost the ball. It went into the crowd, and obviously some of the kids here in Neza probably need a new football.
I don't think we'll have seen a new football for a long time, John. I don't think that'll see light of day tonight anyway.
And you and I were watching a match on the most extraordinary pitch either of us has ever seen, weren't we, earlier? Full of rubble. There's the corner. And this time Rasmussen does make the catch, and the Danish supporters leap as one and cheer him. Safe, but I think it was a little bit of a derisory cheer for the Danish keeper. I believe it's Elkjær, and he's got two men alongside him. One of them here is Jesper Olsen. Attitude, and no unselfish then. He could perhaps have got himself for his fourth goal. Instead he rolled it invitingly for Jesper Olsen, and he makes it around half dozen.
Almost apologetic how he put it in the net, John, but I'm sure he'll be very, very pleased with himself. Always
As well, it's Jesper's fourth goal for his country. And now the Danes have equalled the Russians' tally against Hungary, and this is just as good a feat against the side of Uruguay's quality. Extraordinary sight now, because there are 6 defenders confronting one Uruguayan up there who's now got a bit of support as Ramos. He's found Salazar out here, who'll drive a shot straight into the back of Anderson, and that hurt, I think. And we've literally got 1 minute left on the clock. And without question, this has been a really marvellous performance by the Danes, who now go to the top of the group, a point clear of West Germany, who, need we remind you, beat Scotland 2-1 earlier today in Querétaro. And look at that for a ball out there, and Frank Arneson is sprinting away, and he's inside the area. Well, he's just outside the area, I should say. Again, he did that little skip over the defender's foot. Again, he smiles. Again, there was no free kick. I'm feeling this scoreline will be greeted with disbelief back in Uruguay.
I think it does football a lot of good, John, because we want to see goals, and the spectators want to see goals. They'll have seen them tonight.
Yes, I hope you've enjoyed every minute of this match back in England as much as we have here in Mexico. It's been a real treat. There's the scoreline: Denmark 6, Uruguay 1. Full time up. The referee is consulting his watch. The watch tells him to carry on playing for a little bit longer. We're not going to argue with that. As Da Silva will try and get something here. Francescoli still battling, and Batista never ran on there, otherwise there might have been a chance of a second Uruguayan goal. Elkjær, a delighted man, surely at the moment the most lethal striker in the world. Certainly his ratio for Denmark would suggest that. 3 goals here today, taking him to 37 for Denmark. The referee's arm is raised. It signifies the end of a quite superb Denmark performance. 3 goals for Elkjær, 1 each for Løby, Laudrup and Jesper Olsen, against a reply of just 1 goal from the penalty spot by Enzo Francescoli for Uruguay. A quick comment, Billy McNeil, on a superb performance by Denmark.
Well, they've shown us what a delightful team they are to watch, John, but they've also given us great indication that they can strike from all departments, but more particularly from those 2 very, very dangerous strikers. It would be difficult to back against them.
Thank you very much, Billy. Well, stay with us for the views of the panel. It'll be interesting to hear what they've got to say about that. But for the last time here, we leave you from Neza with the sight of a very happy man, Elkjær, hat-trick hero. The scoreline: Denmark 6, Uruguay 1. We'll take a break.